What's going on YouTube? AJTBLS coming to you here after the 2022 GOAT Format World Championship. I'm having a great day. Hope you all having a great day as well. And this basically concludes the 2022 season. I had an outstanding season this year, and a lot of growth, a lot of tops, a lot of placement, and a lot of fun. Did a lot of traveling in real life with my friends now that this pandemic kind of calmed down, and IRL Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of back and the scene's growing. Get out and play. And I'm coming to you today with a World Championship Part 1 review. Time being, we're going to go over today the deck that I chose to play, why I chose to play it, and replay. This will be a Part 1 of 2 video. The Part 2 will be the top cut. So I'm going to go over one duel today in this video. I feel like this was the best one of the preliminary Swiss rounds, and I really played my ass off in this game. So I want to go over it and talk about it. First, quickly we'll go over the deck. I know Chaos Turbo is boring. Everyone's been, explained to it a billion times what it does. I'll just explain some of the tech choices. I ran 21 monsters, main deck the Kaiku, did not main deck card destruction, and I chose to main deck 3 Trap Dust Shoot. The reason being is I had a strong feeling that Chaos Turbo would be the most represented deck in Worlds, and I was correct. Almost 50% of the players played this deck or a version of this deck. So this main deck does very well in the mirror match, and it sacrifices the aggro matchup. It does also well against control as we're main decking a book, and Turbo kind of outworks control, chaos control specifically in a vacuum. So this list does very well against the mirror match, control, and a variety of other decks. So let's go ahead and jump into a replay here. So a little bit of the backstory here. The previous round, I won, and my opponent actually dropped. He just basically had to go, and he left. So I already started with a bye, so I started 1-0. Then the next round, I kind of got a free win, for lack of better terms. He had to leave, so I was 2-0. And this is my 3-0 opponent, Missed a Man. And this is my 4-0 opponent. The previous round, I think this is round 4. I believe this is round 4. So we're both 3-0. And this is me against Missed a Man. So I was looking at the previous replays because all of the replays were posted public, and I saw he was on GOAT control. But I also noticed in the replays that he noblemaned the Magician of Faith, and none were gone. So I was like, okay, he doesn't run Faith. So I knew it was like a control with warriors in it. So let's go ahead and jump into it here and enjoy this replay. Edit that out. Okay, so let's go ahead. So we're waiting for the round to start. Timer started, and good luck. He's going first. All right, so this was actually the feature match as well as GOAT Format and Masters were both streaming this match. He has a good hand, opens up the pot, nice to see for him, and he draws into some cards, decides to do this. So remember, in real time, I don't see his cards, right? So I don't know his hand, so keep that in mind when I'm making decisions here. I throw away my Thunder Dragon, ask if everything's okay in standby phase, checking for Dust Shoot, basically. We throw away our Thunder Dragon, add 2 more, and I think I just set the... Did I just set the Koichi and maybe a Torrential? Or I just set Torrential. Okay, so I realize that I don't want to get blown up here, and I want to generate a 1-for-1, because, if he summons, obviously, we Torrential, and he's going to get a Sangan search. It's not going to be a +1, but we're taking the game in stride. We don't want to lose our own monster, because it's very likely he's going to summon, and we Torrential here. Hit the breaker, and he gets to search. Searches for DD Warrior Lady. When he did this, I felt like he already had Serpent in his hand, so that was in the back of my mind. Do we set the Koichi, or do we set Spy here? We choose to set the Koichi, and the reason being is that if this gets Nobleman, we're okay with that, but we do not want to lose our Spies, as the Spies are kind of a meal ticket to this matchup. The Spy is very important. So he searches for the Swordsman, and he punches it. And man, I remember this spot being like, well, we are monster clogged. We need to draw not a monster, and here comes a monster. So We do have to challenge this card. We have to try to kill this. I hope that we try to use the Kaiku or the Suk, and we use the Kaiku. That's fine. I mean, it's probably not going to go through. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it probably won't go through because we tested this card, right, for MST or Dust Tornado, and it's not that because he would have MST'd or Dust Tornado with this card. So this card is likely a Battle Trap or a way to answer a attacking monster, and it gets booked, and I have to have my turn. So here he's gonna, I'm gonna take 1800, and we're getting clocked, and we're losing our darks. Okay. And Mr. Man is a good opponent. He's strong. He's from Italy, I believe. And keep in mind this is the World Championship. Everybody in this tournament, especially at the higher rounds, is not a scrub. And I've dueled Mr. Man before, so I know he's capable. I know he's not making mistakes. We do top deck Snatch Steal. Great answer. We are going to Snatch Steal the Kaiku, and we're going to try to run over the Faith. Run over the Swordsman. And we actually do the Tsukiyomi play, which I really like. Reason being is that now this Snatch Steal, this monster's actually mine, and if he finds a way to answer the Snatch Steal, we kind of need a board presence. So we just flip it in and attack. Perhaps a sequencing issue here, but we're playing around call, doing it the way that I'm doing it. So if this was called the Haunted attacking with the smaller monsters, correct? And then he's does he goats? No, he takes the damage, and this is something that a good player would do. Kind of realizes that I could take the 1800, no need to goats. I don't have a metamorphosis, so compliments to Mr. Man taking the damage there. He loses his darks, and we end our turn. So he draws another goat, smashing grounds, and I take 1500, and we're kind of in a weird position here. We still have not seen a nobleman or tested for nobleman, so since the turn that we tried it with the Koichi. So I remember in real time setting the Knight Assailant because I can't risk losing my spy, like I said earlier, and we set the Mirror Force. So he draws into a second nobleman. So he summons into this here, and I was thinking that now this set's solemn, but we end up getting a 2-for-1 here because we're going to Mirror Force, obviously. Can't take that damage and opportunity for 2-for-1. And we draw a duo. We're going to use it even though it's going to cost 1,000 life. And we figured he had Serpent, but maybe he doesn't, right? We got to check it out. So we're going to try to snipe a card from his hand. We hit the Serp, and he's going to throw away the goats. And now I think that we set our spy. And we do, and unfortunately for us, he does have that second nobleman there. Tries to add his Serpent in M1. I know it went fast here, but I actually don't let him grab it because there was a big judge call or a conference in the morning saying that you don't let your opponent add Serpent in M1 today. It's the World Championship and can't be making mistakes like that. So I make him put his Serpent back. He chooses not to nobleman me here, and I honestly I thought he didn't have nobleman by him doing this. So I get my spy, and we're in a really good position here. It's gonna take a lot to lose. We're kind of we're stabilizing now. He draws the swordsman, summons, runs this over, and we pass. He passes. So we do have light dark access now. I don't know if we run out the Sork. I don't really think there's a reason to. I hope that we do not, because this is no pressure at all. We could just kind of sit there, set the nobleman as a bluff. He draws into Decree, kind of a dead draw. We're going to give him another 1,000 life, drawing card, and we draw Storm. So we have a really good play here. We normal summon. We can normal summon the Tsukiyomi, nobleman it, then Storm, and it'll be a big plus. So that's what we do. And now we Storm for a plus. He does chain goats. But man, we're in a really good position here, right? We can clear 3 of these tokens, or we can just pass. And I remember in real time that I was like, man, he's a good player. He could just be holding Blackluster Soldier. If I attack some goats, I just lose, right? So 1,800 plus 1,800. And also it's going to clear up monster space, right? And we know he has a Serpent. So I knew he had Serp, and I just didn't know what this card was because he chose to use swords instead of nobleman, right? So I was like, okay, that card's not nobleman in his hand. He's holding a card, and from my experience dueling at high levels and playing good opponents, when they're holding a card in their hand, it's always the card you don't want them to have. So I was thinking it's either Snatch Steal or Blackluster Soldier. So if I attack and clear all of the goats, we're dead. Because he will kill both of these spies, 1800 apiece, and normal summon the serpent, and we're too low. So we just actually, I don't think we kill anything. Or we kill, yeah, we were thinking here, he removed it, but I didn't actually attack, and I just said leave 4. So we need to find out more information about his hand, and then he starts setting spell traps, and we just do nothing. No need to summon to flip it up for the extra. Can't risk torrential. He draws duo, holds it, and we need to start now setting because we need to start getting more of a board presence. And while yes, he's stabilizing, and if I attacked, we could be applying pressure. I just have no way to answer Blackluster Soldier, and I didn't really want to get blown out by it. So we're okay with the current game state. We find out his hand, and he ends up setting Delinquent because we do not find out his hand. He changed Decrees. We get a -1 there, and he sets Delinquent as a bluff. We bring out Zook, and now we start gaining more spies, and we kill 2 here. And I just don't think he has Blackluster Soldier at this point. Also, we just don't lose right away if he does have it because we have another spy. So we're starting to make some progress. He tops decks Charity. And now he hits his Blackluster Soldier, which is what I was kind of playing around all game. And he does have lethal here. He does end up assembling it. So we'll just fast forward. The Banish, the Thing, bring this out, Snatch Steal. Yeah, it will be lethal any way you cut it. He had another lethal line as well, but that was the opportunity. That was the one he picked. So for siding, I'll tell you what I did real time. This Jujutsu Master and this Tiger. I don't know if I put in the Tiger, but I know I put in the Jujutsu Master and the Beaters. I also put in Swords because he's running Decrees. I took out the Nobleman's. He doesn't run any flips at all. I've noticed that from previous replays and whatnot. So I think that was my kind of general siding strategy. But let's go ahead and jump back into the replay. Good hand here for us, and I remember real time. I was not very happy about how I played and how I lost game 1, but I was kind of scared of Blackluster Soldier, and he ended up getting it from Charity. So that was kind of out of my control. But I don't know if I was clocking him, attacking and bringing in the spies and applying some pressure. That game could have went a little differently. I don't know if I would have necessarily won. I don't know if it was enough damage for lethal, but sometimes when you're playing around a card that you think they have and you have this strong read on it, it could kill you like that, and that's what ended up happening. If you're wrong, you could be wrong, and that's what ended up happening to me. So we upstart, get a book, and we get a great Charity here. And I think I throw away the Spy and the Knight Assailant just for the plus. This is something I like to do because these Thunder Dragons, while they might not be real right now, they are still cards, and I do want to have them. I play in a card advantage. It's kind of the whole thing with the deck. And I don't want to give the information that I have Serpent. So I set this and say go. The reason why I don't want him to know that I have Serpent is just in case he tries to exile Force. But I don't know he had a Nobleman. So brings out the Kaiku and he Noblemans. Here I think I Sakuretsu because he's on Decree. And while I do have a potential answer to this, I can't really afford to lose my my dark here. So Wisaku goes through, and we're kind of destabilizing here. Draw MST. I think here I set the book in the yes exactly, and he normal summons Sangan, and he attacks. So when he does this, I know he doesn't have another Nobleman, and this game is kind of hard for me to lose in this circumstance. So I now MST. He chains goats. The reason why I did this is to play around torrential. I have a really big play here where I can get another, I can get a +1. So worst comes to worst, that this card's chainable. I could Book of Moon that one, or chain book, or do something. So I do decide to bring the pressure in here, and we kill everything, and we leave the goats. No, sorry, we leave the Sangan. So on his turn, he obviously Lightning Vortex tries to. I Book of Moon, Book of the Skew, as the 519 guys like to call it. So I book, get to keep my body, and puts it in defense. So we're doing well. We're still not killing this. I'm kind of now reading that he needs this to die. Could have Metamorphosis in his hand is my live thoughts. And my faith is going to go through. This game is, I'd like to consider over, as we're going to be charity. We're going to get charity, and we're going to throw away the dragons. So these Thunder Dragons that I chose to keep from turn one, putting into work, because guess what our discards are? They're the dragons. Get duo, get pot, and this game's over. We're just going to fast forward it. We'll still play through, but there's not much to see here. Yeah, he types in RIP lifetime, because you kind of know at high level play when this happens, short of me making an absolute blunder, I'm not going to lose this game. Nobleman's me. Notice how no fates are gone. I I call back. This was a cool play. So I ended up using my calling back the dragon end phase, so I can normal summon Tsukiyomi and set it. So I can set up for a storm, and now we're just, we can't lose. This spot's too big. Can't lose. Set the wing blast and go. Wing blast the back row, snatch steal, and that's game. Okay, so game three. In terms of game three against this deck, my shoots I assume are already out. In terms of the main deck, I think everything maybe stayed the same. Let's go ahead and jump into it. You know what? Actually, I believe that in this matchup, and I was doing this almost all Worlds tournament. When I'm going second, I like to take out my Dekoichis, bro. And the reason being is, and I put in another Kaiku against this matchup. I think my Dekoichis I probably sided out for this, because Dekoichi is a slow card. The best play in Goats going first is a T set, right? So I like to keep my Dekoichis when I'm going first. T set's a very powerful thing, but when you're going second, a T set's not as strong, just because of the obvious that their spell traps can respond. They've already summoned. So going first in Goats is huge, and I like the T set when I go first. So I take out my Dekoichis generally when I'm going second, especially in this matchup. So I would be shocked to see if I kept my Dekoichis in. It's possible I did. I don't really fully remember, but I generally like to take them out. Here, he just sets and passes. My turn is just going to be setting a Wing Blast and passing. No need to swords. There's no pressure. Could still have Storm. We don't know anything. I don't take this 1500. Reason being is, again, he's on Decree, right? So we can easily take the 1500, but then we might not get another opportunity to use this. And now we gain a little bit of knowledge about his next draw. He's gonna draw. The DD Warrior Lady. So I do a really cool play here. We draw into Tsukiyomi. I'm thinking to myself, what is he setting? What is he setting? If that's, it could be DD Assailant. I'm not 100% sure at this time if he runs that. It's not DD Warrior Lady. That just got put to the top of the deck. So I end up using swords and Tsukiyomiing his set monster. Flipping it up, then Tsukiyomiing it, then killing it. And we generate a +1 here, and we just pass. So he does heavy for 1, and now we know heavy's gone, and we take 1500. That's okay. Our turn. We draw Kaiku. I think the play here is just crash and banish his light, and, get the DD Warrior Lady gone. DD Warrior Lady is an annoying card. It's very good in Warriors and good in some other decks as well. I'm a fan of it, but eventually, it's always a 1-for-1, and it pokes for 15. So we lose our Kaiku here. We do lose a Dark, but that's okay. At least it's gone, and now we can set up for later. And we're doing okay on the cards right now. We're doing okay on card advantage. So he does draw his Decree, and he passes. So we set our faith, as we already have light. We're okay if he gets Nobleman. And he does Nobleman it. I'm surprised he didn't try to run it over with the Swordsman, and if I Saku, he just changed Decree. But, I'm happy he didn't. Here comes the Swordsman, and now what I don't want to happen happens, and he gets a +2 on this turn. Our back's against the wall, boys. This is kind of the whole package of his deck. This is a very, very strong play that counters Turbo. He got a +1 from Battle, +1 from the Decree, and thankfully we do have a Tsukiyomi here, so he knows that already. So we're going to get at least a +1 back in our turn. We actually have to end up heavying for 1 here just because the way we're drawing into our traps. We kill this and we set Torrential and pass. If he summons something we really don't like, we are going to TT it. He gets a dead draw here because of the attributes going on. He has a lot of Earth, and we banished already his Light, so this BLS is far away from being live. I think he normal summons DD Assailant. We Torrential that, and that's his turn. No reason for him to use Sword, so kudos to my opponent. There's no pressure here. So I set my Serpent, and I set my Saku. He normal summons Swordsman. I hope I don't Saku this because there's no reason to, right? And now this forces him to use swords because he knows we have Tsukiyomi. And he passes. We draw, and our Sork is not live yet. Keep that in mind, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have a light and a dark. So here we just got to set the Serpent and say go. So he summons the Tribe. We'll let that die. It's no problem. And we Saku this. The reason why I did not Sakuretsu armor the Swordsman, I know obviously, later we might get flip monsters. The reason why I didn't Saku the Swordsman is because I actually need this tribe gone. I can't kill it, and this is a way for him to get attributes in the grave. I thought about it, and I valued actually getting this tribe gone more than that Swordsman. Because remember, we have swords up, right? So puts a counter on that. I get back my my Serpent, and he's going to get 1,000 life here. And I draw this Knight Assailant. I'm like, you know what? He knows I have Serpent. I set it 2 times. I thought to myself, I'm going to set the Knight Assailant here. And I think that he's going to either summon and attack with not the Swordsman because he's going to try to push damage. And, if he does choose to attack with the Swordsman, short of him absolutely summoning Kaiku would be the worst one because he gets to banish our stuff. We might be able to get this Knight Assailant off and kill the Swordsman. And if worse comes to worse, we still get a dark. So I set the Knight Assailant here, and I pass. And what does he do? He normal summons the Serpent, and I already knew, folks. I already knew what's going on. He attacks, and I was jumping for joy. My plan worked. This is the best play I did, I think, actually all worlds. This small little sequence here, because look what he drew. He drew Metamorphosis. He has Lightning Vortex. This Serpent was a meal ticket, and he takes 200, and I remember him typing in chat, so bad, because, this is huge. We tribute this off, and we banish. We do not use the MST because it's leaving this turn, and there's no reason to push. So he loses his Serpent, and his back's against the wall. And I remember quoting my boy Chris. He typed in so bad. So I was like, okay, if we're doing a little bit of bad manner stuff, I'll just type in remove that card from play. Shout out to my boy CP. And draws another Metamorphosis, sets it as a bluff. Now we start, removing it. Big damage. And we Tsukiyomi set this. We drew Breaker, so we do have a protection for Snatch Steal. And we're pushing for damage now. He has no attributes in the grave, so this Lightning Vortex is just going to end up clearing his board for a even trade. But, we're clocking him, and we're looking to win this duel. And we're coming back from big adversity because of that Decree Swordsman gimmick there that happened. And here he Lightning Vortex, throws away the meta, and summons the Breaker, 1900. And I'm kind of thinking now that the 1 card in his hand, Blacklister Soldier. So here we can we're doing okay on life, but we can afford to run this over and take damage next turn, right? So we kill this. That gives him his dark, and he draws into Kaiku, and that's a nice draw for him because we're kind of nearing that point where we're up in cards. We're going to be up 5-2, and actually, if you want to count this as a dead card, because it kind of is, we know what it is now. We're kind of thinking all game that's Blacklister Soldier. We choose not to run this over. We actually set the Spy and set the Call to Haunted, and if this Spy resolves, we can win on our turn. He attacks, and this was good recognition for me or game state recognition, in my opinion, that it's better not to just run this over. Let's set, take the conservative route. We know he doesn't have nobleman unless he top decks it. So let's set the spy, get the plus, and end phase we call the haunted here. And this call has been great for me all worlds. We banish and we reset it, detach it from Snatch Steal, flip it up, and we attempt to go for lethal here. And it's Tsukiyomi. He has to set our Suk, and we get him for 2,400, and he needs to find an answer. I thought I thought it was either Blackluster Soldier or Snatch Steal. I ended up misclicking, and he ends up drawing Snatch, which was my second guess. Like I said earlier, it's like I said earlier, it's when they're holding a card in their hand, it's always the card you don't want to see. Keep that in mind, okay? So he banishes a spy, playing around me getting light dark because he knows I can't tribute it, and we had breaker all game. So I said you knew you had Snatch turns ago, so it was either Snatch or Blackluster Soldier, and he ended up just topping Snatch. So that was my game, and shout out to Mr. Man. His deck was really cool. He ended up doing pretty well in this tournament, and I think he just missed the top cut by one. I think he bubbled out, but shout out to you. Very well played, good duelist. Better luck next year. But this was a really, really well played game, and for me, in my opinion, this Knight Assailant play is what won me the duel. And we got to banish the Serpent, and we kind of took advantage of our opponent being greedy, and I had a feeling that he would be. So, yeah, this was actually probably my favorite duel I played all tournament. Wasn't a blowout by any means. Took a lot of thinking, and notice in this game 3 it was a clean game, no Trinity from either of us. So, yeah, this will be the replay covering my Swiss cut. I end up finishing 6-1 for the top cut, 7 rounds with the bye, and we then go into the top 16 for Worlds. So I will have a follow-up video for that. But thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.